Hey, welcome to the Backyard Professor Chess videos tonight. I got to adjust my camera here. I have a spectacular chess miniature for you. The main takeaway from this game is going to be relentless attack. Once you get to that, don't let up, no matter what. And Smirnov is very good on this subject. You always look for something on your opponent's side to attack. Let's go to the board and I'll show you what I mean. Or else this game will show you what I mean. And now D4 and now D5. So here we go. Tension in the center, and I know it's been previous videos I've always said just leave the tension. Go ahead and ideally, in most cases, develop the pieces. Now, this was a game played by Kyla and Kiwi. It was in Helsinki in 1949. In this instance, they did not continue developing speedily with their pieces just yet. He went ahead and took the D5. So the D5 pawn is taken. Now, of course, the C can return that take. There. And now he immediately bops up the C4 pawn because he's going to establish the center. But now there is a potential for an E file open file and a C file for the black open file, especially considering this here now. So let's see how this works out. He bumps C4 and the D will take C4. So this is going to be interesting because now the bishop can develop by taking the pawn. So white has established a little bit better control over the center. And yet, interestingly enough, there is a little bit of openness on this board. And E6 is going to limit the power of the white squared bishop on the diagonal. What it does, though, and it's important to grasp this, it's not that this is an incorrect move. Just recognize what it's doing. You are opening up your bishop, your dark squared bishop, but you're limiting at this point in the game, in the early part, you're limiting the effect of your light squared bishop. White does not have those issues. White's bishop, he's hitting the target. Granted, it's guarded. I get that. That's not the issue. He is out here exerting great pressure, and his dark squared bishop can easily come out wherever he chooses to come out if he can do so safely and exert some really good pressure also. So this is interesting. He's going to bring yet a second piece in the development. And now black's done with the pawn moves. He wants his knights out as well. D5 is pushed. The forward pressure gives you more space behind the pawn. And that allows you better maneuverability so that you can coordinate your pieces better for either both attack or defense, yes? So space is one of the famous Silman imbalances that he talked about a lot. So does Artur Yusupov. That's vital. So we get the impression in a gentle way that black is somewhat more crowded. Just learning how to understand how the chessboard is and what we can do in any given situation on the chessboard. Instead of taking the pawn, black bumps to E5. So white will bring out yet another piece, always good. And now A6. He's going to try to limit the influence of the bishop. Granted, black is behind in development. If the theory goes, if you can eliminate the influence and power of your opponent's pieces, that can't be bad. So I suspect that's what black is banking on. We do have a castle king castle, and another knight comes bopping out. Remember, development is a temporary thing. It is an imbalance, that's true. And as a general rule, if you do get further ahead in development than your opponent with more pieces, then begin an attack. Black's going to have to hurry up, bringing more pieces out. No more pawn moves, technically, if you can at all help it. Piece moves for black is certainly the call of the moment in this particular setup. And just wow. Come on, we're in the opening of the game, and there's a passed pawn, and it's a protected passed pawn. This gets really interesting. So he's going to bring his knight back around, question the bishop, and keep their eye on the square, and that's the most vital square. Now, either you blockade directly with a piece, ideally a knight, you blockade a passed pawn, or you at least control the square in front of the passed pawn. We see that's what black is doing superbly. Okay, interesting. Kablam. Bishop takes f7, and you're going, hi, hi, hi. That's like a lightning bolt out of the blue. So here is the lesson, and here is the theme for the rest of this game that white really shows us nicely. When you do decide to just blitzkrieg, you're going to go full out attack, then you can never quit attacking. Because what you're doing essentially is you're either going to sacrifice a piece or two or a pawn or two. So you're going to end up being down material. He's got a fairly open board. Yeah, white. You can see he's not completely closed out of the center. He does have potential for getting a queen in here. Not that square, of course. I'm just showing you the queen can move fairly easy because the board is somewhat open. He does have another knight that can spring into action and another knight that can spring into action fairly fast to get to the king. So just recognize once you begin an attack, you just go, man, go. Hey, this is part of what makes chess fun. King is going to take the bishop. Queen is going to come b3 check, taking over the white bishop diagonal. King is going to come to g6. Interesting stuff. Knight is going to take e5 check. Every move that white can potentially make is going to be a forcing move. It's what they call them. You make it so that black cannot make the move he wants to, but you are making it so that he has to move a certain piece. The easiest type of forcing move, of course, is check the king, check the king, check the king, and he's virtually forced to either block that check. I mean, he can't just come over here and start bringing his knight over or bumping his rook up or over. His king is attacked. So again, he has to focus on his king over here. He can't just start bringing out his queen, taking a pawn or bringing out the queen somewhere. No, white is forcing him. Okay, that is a critical part of attack. I know I'm making a big deal about that, but you'll see why here in just a second. In every instance, when you choose to attack, this is how to do it. Now, okay, so white had a couple of really good forcing moves. And now he gets a somewhat reprieve because he doesn't force black to move the king. But white is moving his other pieces into a stronger attacking position, more active squares, closer to the king, more active, etc. So black has to play very fast for defense right now. And he's got to move his most powerful pieces for defense. Okay, let's see what he can do. Okay, queen e8, activate the queen. I agree, e8 is way back here. I get that, but he's forked the knights, or skewered. He skewered the knights. So no matter what, black wins a piece. So that's not as passive of a move as it looks like at first. Queen is going to come to f3, check, observe. White is not going to pay attention to the black threat to his knights. And I mean, the knight is developed here, and it is in a position to cause some real damage, but he's not going to play a defensive passive move of get the knight out of the way. He's going to bring yet another piece closer to the king and attack the king, checking the king, which is a forcing move. So now black has to do something to either block the check or move out of check. In this case, it's really nice because he does have bishop g4. He gets to develop a piece helping protect his king with tempo. That's always nice. That's good. So with the position, white is better developed. His pieces are closer to the king, right? So he's going to be able to continue making forcing moves, and he has to play dynamically. How do you do that? With a really beautiful queen takes the bishop check move. Holy cow! That's really impressive. A good queen sacrifice. Well, the knight can take the queen. Yeah. So you've been attacking. You keep attacking. Knight will come to g3, and you keep attacking with forcing moves. So again, put the knight on the right square. That will check the king. So black has to pay attention to moving his king alone. That's a good forcing move. King will come to h4. And now knight f3, checkmate with both knights. Now that's a beautiful, really beautiful game to give us the importance, I'll put it that way, the importance of be relentless. Now, and I know I talk in a lot of my videos, and I do stand by that because it is a true chess fundamental. The more pieces you develop, the stronger your game is going to be. In this instance, the board was relatively open, which meant that as white went ahead and took the f7 pawn with the bishop, so he sacked his bishop, but with the board being relatively open, and he did have one more piece. Incidentally, did you notice it was the two knights, and it's the two knights that ended up checkmating the king, but he only had one more piece developed, but he was able to give forcing moves against the king, which put his pieces closer. He brought the queen out. The two knights were already out, bringing the third piece, forcing the king to move, and then bringing in another knight and continue, and then bringing the queen over. And even though he had to sack the queen, he was still better developed by one piece. And look at that. Both pieces checkmated the king, and all he had was one protecting piece. So that's a great illustration. When you begin to attack, you really need to keep going. And the one thing that does help you is when the board is more open than not open. That's always helpful with your determined adamantine necessity of moving speedily and forcing moves. Your attack can be successful. So, hey, that's a great game. That's fun. I love that. Watch this video a few times. Get the feel for how White pulled this off. And happy chessercising. Be good to all. Have fun. Don't stay up too late at night. If you do, make sure you're having fun anyway. Eat some popcorn. You're going to have to work it off in the morning, though. I'm just saying. Be careful what you eat late at night. And I will catch up to you guys just as soon as I can with more fun chess videos. Thank you for all your support.